So hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. I'm gonna do this a little bit different. Today I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more interactive. So let's do it this way. I hope everybody sees the presentation well. As said, my name is Dennis. I take care of market development at VIDAA USA. Those of you that don't know me yet, I've been with VIDAA for a very long time. Before that, I worked for Gorenje. And the way this is going to look is we're going to walk you through the VIDAA operating system, the new one. It's called version 8 or 8.5. I just simply refer to it as VIDAA 2024, which is the latest generation that we're going to have. I'm going to walk you through a brief presentation. The presentation is going to include a description of new things that are inside of the operating system. We're also going to talk a little bit in the beginning about the history of VIDAA and so on. And then in the second part, I'm going to walk you through a demo. I have a TV set up in my home, so I'm going to be able, in my home office, so I'm going to be able to demo the entire system for you as well. And of course, any questions that you might have, feel free to put them in the chat, and we're going to address them at the end of this session. Feel free to put them in, and we're going to try to address them. So as said, I'm going to kick this off with a brief presentation of the VIDAA operating system. So first, let me explain a little bit about the VIDAA OS. Those of you that don't know the platform yet, so the platform has been established in 2019 as an independent platform. It has existed before. We operated as a separate company, and the company currently has an HQ. The headquarters are in Atlanta, in Georgia. We have R&D centers scattered across the world. Of course, the biggest one being in Qingdao. We have one in Atlanta. We do have a strong R&D center now in Poland, in Germany as well, where the Hisense team is supporting it very, very strongly for the DTV part. And we have an R&D center in Israel, specifically for security, data, and analytics. Offices all across the world. I'm based in Slovenia in Europe, but we do have people in Switzerland. We have a strong presence in the UK now, Brazil, India, Poland, also a person in Australia. We have a person in Singapore. We have a team in China, so we are very, very active all across the world. How has VIDAA evolved over the last couple of years? Last year, interestingly, or this year, I'm sorry, April 14th was exactly 10 years since VIDAA became an operating system. So on April 14th, 2014, as you can see the date there, that's when the first version of VIDAA came out with Hisense TVs. Development took about 2 years. And then ever since then, we've made tremendous progress on making the platform as competitive as possible. I want to point out two really important milestones. So the first one will be 2020, when we launched the first VIDAA, we call it VIDAA 4 at that time. That was the version that first featured content recommendations, that it was very, very focused on, let's say, content recommendations, because we saw that the trend is that the world is going to go in that way. And then I would have to say 2023 and 2024 were big for us as well. 2023 specifically because one of the first versions of the latest version of VIDAA, which at that time was VIDAA 7, got recognized by ASA on two very big important Hisense TVs. The U7 and the U8 with VIDAA were named Best Mini LED and Best Buy Mini LED TV. We also became the fastest growing platform in the world in 2023 by Futuresource Consulting, and we continue this year with the same growth. So in the first quarter of 2024, we were the second largest platform in terms of sales, just behind Tizen and ahead of all of our other competition. And also 2024 is the year that we launched the most advanced OS, which we're going to be talking about today. How has the platform evolved? As you see on the left hand side, you see 2020 version, which was VIDAA 4. It was the first one with sort of like content recommendation, content rich. Then with VIDAA 6, we went into a single row of applications, which is something that we are continuing now, but we are enhancing the operating system quite a lot. As you can see below, those are some of the things that we've implemented. So with VIDAA 6, that was the first turnkey OEM solution that we have for other brands. With VIDAA 7, we've implemented VIDAA TV and VIDAA Channels, our own fast offering. And with VIDAA 8, this is the newest generation. That is what we're going to be having. VIDAA Kids, you can see the art mode is new, and also cloud gaming has enhanced quite a lot. Two important things I want to mark. As said before, we are the fastest growing platform in the world. So in 2023, we were the #1 in the world in terms of growth. No other platform has grown as fast as we have. And I have to point out that our presence in 2022 was not bad either. So we are growing, most of it as a success of course, Hisense's immense growth, but also as a part of our OEM expansion. We are getting more and more brands to onboard to us with the VIDAA operating system, because we are aware that if we want to be a global platform, and if also Hisense wants to be a global player, we need to have the operating system on as many competitors as possible as well. And as said, we are the #2 platform in terms of sales in the first quarter of this year, based on the CTV Marketing Association. What is new about VIDAA? Just a general overview. First of all, we've enhanced the look and feel. It's a little bit more smooth, as you're going to see. Some of the stuff is not popping out, it's sort of blended into the background. The scrolling and the navigation is a little bit smoother. VIDAA Channels, our own application for fast offering for free stuff, is also new. It's nice. Cloud gaming is integrated with 3 different providers, which gives you 1,000 cloud games. And I'm not talking about, you know, like little Pongy games. We're talking about serious AAA level gaming is already integrated into the VIDAA OS, so you don't need an external console. All you need is a pad. It started rolling out in the second quarter, and it will continue to roll out in Q3 with a major update coming to devices that were rolled out over the last 2 years. So all of those devices are getting the new version of VIDAA. It's very much focused on a streaming first environment, which means that we want these customers to use streaming as much as possible, because that's where the benefit of the operating system lies, and that's also where we can monetize. You're going to see a lot of stuff being done with VIDAA Voice, and of course VIDAA Kids, which is the most important, in my opinion, advantage that we have. We're keeping the messaging extremely simple, easy, fast, secure. That's all we do. Smart TVs have, over the last, I would say, couple of decades or a decade, have evolved into too much of a technology focused product. We've seen this in the past, but now everybody's sort of like going back saying, yeah, we messed up, we need to do something different. So we are going back to the basics: easy, fast, secure. That's what customers want. It's a laid back experience, but they want to have access to all the global and local entertainment as well. So whatever we do in terms of design, in terms of communication, in terms of development, is all focused around those 3 things. Whatever we do, we don't want to make the platform not be easy, be it slow, or be it unsafe. That is what we are extremely focused on. A little bit about the market presence, to give you a little bit of confidence in what is it that we are doing. Right now, we currently have more than 500 applications integrated on the platform directly. Now, what does the direct integration mean? That means that we have a direct relationship with those partners. If you want to communicate with any of those 500 partners and want to do marketing promotion with them, we can do it. If you guys want to do, I don't know, like use their logo on something, we have a direct line of communication with them, and we can make it happen. We also have metadata from a lot of those partners, which means that you can do search, we can do integrations, and so on. We have more than 1,000 apps in the application store. 350 brands have already chosen VIDAA. We have broken that milestone just a little bit. I think maybe 2 weeks ago, we broke the 350 mark. We are present in 180 countries. We have more than 28 million active devices, and in July, we're probably going to break the 29 million. And before the end of the summer, we're going to have 30 million connected devices. And we're going to reach 50 million by the end of 2025, which gives us a very strong international presence. Our sales forecast and where we currently are with the largest markets: Europe, of course, EU5, extremely important for us in terms of distribution. Also Eastern Europe, we're making great strides there. Slovenia, Serbia, Croatia, very strong markets for us. But of course, EU5 just being, you know, the 5 largest markets. I think just 2 markets don't have 1 million units in Western Europe. So we have very strong presence there. Outside of Europe, yes, South Africa, of course. In Australia, we just broke the 2 million connected devices mark. To give you a sense of scale, there's only 9.4 million households in Australia. So we are in 1 of every 5 households in Australia. 20% of households in Australia have a VIDAA TV inside of them. Mexico, huge. Australia, as I've said. Argentina, also quite big. Chile. But I think the biggest ones for you to remember are Mexico, Australia, South Africa, and of course EU5. Let's go through the VIDAA Launcher a little bit. So left-hand side, that is what you see last year, VIDAA 2023. VIDAA 2024 is the one on the right. Overall, when you just start it up, not much difference, but what you can see is that first of all, the the banner up there on top is more blended into the background. There's less layers on top of it to make it a little bit more smooth. But the biggest difference actually comes when you highlight applications and when you do basic stuff. Yes, we have 25 applications pre-installed. All the others are in the application store, but the key change is that now we no longer have the recommendations for these applications done above, but we actually do them below. There's some interactivity also in the banner. So let me show you how this works in a demo. Of course, you're going to see it live later on. But when you highlight an application now, the recommendations actually pop up on the bottom. Also important, we are implementing a function where if you stay a couple of seconds on a particular piece of content or a live channel, you will see the live channel playing inside of there. Now, we still have to get a lot of information from our content partners. We still have to get a lot of metadata, which means also includes these short clips from them, but this should be implemented very, very quickly. Another important thing, we no longer have generic recommendations for everyone, but if customers are logged in with their VIDAA account, we do have the capability to give them individualized recommendations. We use also some AI capabilities to improve that, not just the content, but also the metadata that is available for the customers. The launcher, of course, being limited to 25 applications, everything else is in the application store. The application store has been improved a little bit. We do have better search inside of it, and the applications themselves have, again, we've added a few, so we're now at 1,000. I have to point out that the availability of applications depends on the country. We have a very, very strict rule that we are not going to launch an application that is not available in a particular market, right? So what does that mean? If, for example, I'm not going to launch RAI Italy in Spain because customers don't have access to that application. They cannot access anything inside of it because it's geo-blocked, right? So we only put the applications that are actually available, so that the number depends, I would say about 200 to 300 per country. A lot of those apps are global applications. Let's go do a deep dive into VIDAA 8 features, or VIDAA 2024. There's 5 pillars I'm going to be talking about. The first one is going to be VIDAA Kids. This is probably the most important thing. It's also a very, very unique selling feature for VIDAA. None of the other players have the children's protection capabilities done at this level. It is also a partnership that we've done with a Canadian company called Kidoodle, which is one of the leading companies in terms of kids content. Not only is the content amazing, but also the protections that are there are certified, which means that they have a protocol called Safe Streaming. Of course, they're COPPA compliant. They're compliant with all the international standards, but they even have their own standards, which are higher. Which means that not only is the content not going to be bad inside of it, also the ads are not going to be targeting children, and we're not getting any private information and so on. So we're making it really, 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 really safe. The second one, VIDAA Channels, that's our own FAST and VOD offering. Of course, all of it free. We're launching it in more and more markets. It's not available globally because we want to make sure that the local offering is important. Remember, people watch their local content. They don't watch a lot of global content, with the exception of maybe Netflix. But if you have a look at what people are watching on YouTube, it's mostly local content. VIDAA Art, it's gotten revamped inside of the screensaver mode. We actually bought a pretty significant library of content from the Louvre. Cloud gaming, very important, and additional voice capabilities, specifically new languages that have been included, also voice feedback. Let's dive into VIDAA Kids first. Kids mode is completely protected. So VIDAA Kids is completely protected using a PIN code. And what is important, these are not just basic children's settings that we used to have in the past, parental protections. When you launch VIDAA Kids now, it is a separate environment, right? It's not only about what apps you can lock and so on. No, VIDAA Kids is specifically designed for children. As you can see on the right-hand side, as you can later see in the demo, it is a different experience. There's no access to settings. There's no access to applications. It's all a closed environment with age-appropriate and protected content. You also have remote monitoring on the smartphone or on a computer or on a TV. You can manage the viewing time. You can manage the bedtime of children. You can change the user interface. You can create different profiles for different age groups. It truly is a completely different experience to what we've had in the past, and I'm really happy that we have this. It's also very, very well protected. So once a kid, for example, if I'm a child and parents enter my TV into kids mode, even if I turn the TV off, even if I unplug the TV off, I will not have access to all the other applications unless I have the PIN. I can only select, my avatar with my account, and boom, I'm inside of my profile. VIDAA Channels, it's expanding, it's getting better and better, and the new version also has a small, I would say, social viewing aspect to it with VIDAA Bits. That is a special service that we developed in cooperation with our partners to have, I would say, sort of like a Reels feel. If you know Instagram Reels, sort of like a Reels feel where you can have high quality content consumed in 30-second, 1-minute packages. Really good stuff from high quality providers, including the Comedy Central and really good channels. So I'll show you on the bottom how this looks like. So this is actual content from VIDAA Bits. It is a combination of content that especially comedy, that high quality providers have done, and we're able to stitch it together into a social-like experience. And you can actually zap through them just like you would on Instagram Reels on Instagram. VIDAA Art, it's new, it's redesigned, it's slicker, it's smoother, and also as you're going to see, the menus are completely different, and it's quite easy to set your own stuff. By the way, you can even put a frame on your art, which is kind of cool because TVs now are frameless, and you can actually put the frame around the art. Everything is curated by the VIDAA team. It's high quality content, and it's the same stuff that you see on the Canvas TV. So it is the same stuff available inside of any VIDAA TV. And of course, you can create playlists, you can customize them, and so on. For cloud gaming, more than 1,000 games. Boosteroid, Blacknut, which is the most important one. Blacknut is the leader in the market on cloud gaming, with the exception of maybe Microsoft with the Xbox Connect. But Blacknut, Boosteroid are there as well. Utomic is also launching very, very soon. You can use a controller, the ones that you use on your PS4, PS5, or Xbox. Why is that important? Those controllers don't use standard Bluetooth connections. They use a little bit of a different protocol, so all of those libraries are now included to make sure that the gaming experience is the best. There's low latency, very, very high frame rates, and for me, I don't understand how this works. It's like magic, because the most difficult and complex games actually work very, very well on the TV, even though the TV itself is not a very, very powerful machine, but it just works. As far as I understand, everything is done in the cloud, and all that comes to us is the video stream, which is why this thing is so cool. There's also mini maps and so on, but you can experience that on your own if you want to. Additional voice capabilities, as you're going to see, we do have voice interaction back and forth, which means that the VIDAA TV actually speaks to us when we give it a command. We now have 28 languages. We've included Hungarian, Bulgarian. I saw someone from Hungary on here, so yes, you do have Hungarian support now. Bulgarian, Albanian, Czech, and Hebrew. We are adding more languages. Also, people from Slovenia, we're getting the Slovenian language on there as well, Croatian and Serbian, but that's going to be towards the end of the year. We are using a slightly different engine than we did in the past. So in the past, we used Google, as you remember, as a baseline, as a speech-to-text engine. Now we use Amazon's XAPP, which is their AI voice solution. Much better, much more accurate, and it also does have some advanced features which make it definitely a better candidate for what we're trying to do. Voice commands are, of course, search commands, whatever you want to do. Also, by the way, we work with weather now, so it's cool. You can ask for a weather forecast. With live TV updates, this is going to be important for the European market. So we've shuffled things around a little bit. The first thing is that you can see on the bottom image is the channel information is no longer on the top. We actually moved it to the bottom, finally. Why? Because most of the content is usually done in the top third, right? The most important pieces. So whenever we would have the top third, like we did in the past, we would always cover people's heads. Now we moved it down. The same thing happened with the channel guide. If you remember, the channel guide used to be on the right-hand side. Now it's on the left-hand side, right? Because the key images are also on the right third. So right third, top third, that's where the stuff is happening. So we want to move the commands to the other side. And also the EPG is a little bit changed. It's cleaner. It's enhanced. We also use a little bit of AI to fill in information where we don't have metadata coming in from our partners. So it's really, really cool. And again, the same thing as we did in the past. All the channels are mixed and matched. If you're using a DTV antenna or a satellite antenna, we're going to mix in the fast channels between those channels. for easier navigation and for easier use. A little bit small additional updates that we're not going to spend a lot of time on, but just for your information. So the quick settings have changed now. If you're watching a linear channel, if you're watching any piece of content, and you click the menu button on the remote, you're going to get on the bottom quick settings to easily access them, so you don't have to go inside of the menu to do your settings in full. There's small hints that we provide on the UI how to improve the customer experience. Personalized recommendations are now a thing. We're using also AI to clean them up. If by any chance the metadata coming from our partners would be inappropriate, age inappropriate to be in the launcher, we actually have the capability to clean that up. We support AirPlay on 4K and 2K with just 1 gigs of DDR, and of course applications can now be also managed by the mobile applications. So you can install the applications, move them around just using the application on your smartphone. Quite easy to do. Let's go into content. As you know, 500 applications are directly integrated. I think in Europe we don't have any major gaps. I do have to give you some good news. So HBO, the Max application, no longer HBO Max, it's just called Max now. We have started initial testing on it. The goal is to launch it in Q3. I would say realistically more of an early Q4, just because of the scale of the operation. Max is huge. It's across multiple territories, and it's going to require a lot of different platforms to be integrated. But I think we can get it done definitely before the end of the year. Even though the goal is Q3, we're going to do anything in our power to make it Q3. But I would say more realistically, it's early Q4. We're going to have the platform, and it's going to go all the way back to, I believe, 2021 devices. We'll keep you posted, and your local product managers are going to be able to tell you that, because we provide regular reports for them. Again, 1,000 applications in the application store. You all know that. We are following ratings as well. In Europe, we're doing quite well. We have an average rating of 4.6 out of 5. I've managed to get together data for about 24,000 different reviews of the VIDAA operating system. This is for VIDAA 5 and up. It's quite good. It's well ahead of Android or Google. It's well ahead of WebOS. Sort of on par with Tizen, which is our benchmark. We are benchmarking always against the best in the industry. What do users say about it? Remember, easy, fast, secure, and that is exactly what our customers are liking, and that's exactly what our customers want. Everybody talks about how fast it is, how less buggy it is, how all the applications are easily accessible, how all the apps are there, the ones that they need, and it's extremely easy and fast to use, and we're gonna keep going down that path. But we also do some professional reviews. We're really happy that the markets are doing that, and we see some good feedback there as well. I think the recent one, as you can see top left, is the one done by Hi-Fi in Germany, Hi-Fi DE. It's quite telling. It says, you should see this smart TV system in action. The speed is definitely the unique selling point that sets VIDAA apart. Once you have experienced it in action, it's not that easy to go back to another slower operating system. That is definitely true. We have boot up of 1 second on the new version. We have YouTube launch, Netflix launch in 1 second. All of those things are making the OS really, really, really competitive, and it's user friendly, and it's got the power to operate a really, really good product. If you want to any additional information, feel free to connect with us. You can follow us on social. We are very active on LinkedIn. We have some presence on Instagram as well, but most importantly, feel free to connect with us. You saw in the beginning, I shared my WhatsApp, WeChat with you. If you need any information or my email, I'll share it with you again. So this is it. Whatever you need, connect with me or connect to any members of our team. I believe Torben is on this call as well. He's our main man in Europe, the product manager for the European market, and he's going to be able to show you and provide you any answers or any information. We are also very much connected to the Hisense product line managers to make sure that they have all the information available in terms of development and in terms of applications on our side. So, as said, now I will go into showing you the TV. Oh. And I am back. I'm sorry for this. I don't know what happened, but you can see me now, and I hope everything is okay. So now I've switched over to the TV. So we have the TV now in front of me. It's in art mode, but I'm going to start sort of going through the demo and showing you everything that you need to know about the OS. Overall, as you can see, the top is where we have the carousel. It is now 6 or 7 slides. Those slides usually feature promotions for either content on our platform or also paid promotions that we do. For example, here you can see something for Hisense doing the promotion for during the Euro. Now, if you go all the way to the left, that is where you see all of the settings and the navigation. Of course, top is where the profiles are. I'm logged in within my account, which I call demo, and that account gives me the capability to do all the demos for you, but you can set different profiles. If I click on it, you're going to see that I have several profiles set up for children as well, which I'm going to be using later on. You can easily create new ones, you can easily manage them, you can change the avatar, you can change the favorites, remove profiles. You can also, by the way, add and include payment information in the account, just so for later on when bundles become a thing, you're going to be able to pay using that account. Below, of course, search. Even though people mostly use voice search on our platform, the kids is entering the kids mode. I will not do it now because I'll have to exit it using a PIN code then. Notification center, of course, all the inputs that you need are easily visible here. All the settings, if you want to have the detailed settings, that's where you go. They have not changed much. They are different depending on the capability of the TV. And then down below, you're going to have a live section in some markets, not in all of them. This depends on DTV certification. The biggest change, as I've explained, is that when you highlight an application now, you no longer see the recommendations on the top that would cover the banner. You actually see them below. So if I move, let's say, to Prime Video, you're going to see that the Prime Video recommendations are down below. And if I go here to them, I can, just like with any normal other application, I can click on them. Let me show you with VIDAA Channels, which is our own application. So I go here and I click on, let's say, Family Rakuten TV. It's deep linked into the VIDAA Channels application. As you're going to see, it's also going to go straight to that application, straight to that content, meaning the linear channel that I have selected, and it's going to start playing it. There is a little bit of a delay, mostly because I'm using a UK VPN here, just for some other stuff, and I haven't set it up for Germany. And then here, as you can see, you're able to play that channel live. We don't have it yet. Like I said, we are developing the capability of having a live channel in here. It's going to take a little bit of time to roll that out, but it's going to be a very nice addition. Now again, if I go down, you're going to see the recommendations just like you have been used to them in the past. Recommendations are coming from various content partners. We have improved the experience by adding, as you can see on the bottom, first of all, you have the title, you also have the genre, and you have the length of the movie. And we do this metadata using AI to get it done. And it's also individualized, so some of the recommendation rows are actually done individual for the end consumer. I'm going to show you next the changes in the EPG and the channel guide. So if I go into the channel guide, let's say this is the channel guide. Now, unfortunately, I only have my fast channels here. Slovenia is really a bad market for DTV. We don't have a lot on DTV, but this is the channel guide, and as you can see, it's a little bit different than what you had in the past, mostly because on the left hand side we have also added the categories. That means that you can very simply navigate specific categories. Let's say I want to only watch movies, and it's going to only open up the movies that I have available. The metadata, as you can see up there on the top, it has been improved. So now on the top you can see that there's descriptions of a movie. Even if I click on it, for example, it's going to go straight to that piece of content because it's here. As you've also seen, we have it on the left hand side now, the basic channel guide, which is the basic just a channel tile. But if I click right or left, it actually pops up on the bottom, right? So on the bottom I'm going to have the information about the channel. Also important, down below it there's recommendations for similar channels, and I can easily click for it, and I'm going to go into that other channel as well. So we have improved the experience quite a lot on a linear TV as well. Let's do this later. So you are able to navigate through hundreds of channels. The availability of channels depends on the market. So in Europe, in most markets, we're going between 80 and 120 channels that are available out of the box as fast channels, depending on the market. Some markets have a little bit more, some markets have a little bit less, but we make sure that the content that is available is actually local, and also that the channels that are there are localized for the market. As you can see here, the channel for like 3008 is actually a German channel with German recommendations. For example, this would be VIDAA Art. It's a German piece of content with also German subtitles for it. Now I'll show you VIDAA Kids just briefly. And there's ways to, not briefly, I'm going to go into a lot of details on VIDAA Kids. So VIDAA Kids does have several ways of accessing it. You can either select the tile here, or you can go here using the Kids menu, or very simply, when you change a profile, so I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be able to change the profile, let's say Brody, that's a profile I have set up. If I select on it, I'm going to go inside of the Brody profile. So this is Brody. I think he's a kid aged, if I remember correctly, 3 to 5. And that is his setup. Now, as I've said, once you're inside of this environment, there's no way out without a pin. So let's say that if I'm going to click the back button on the remote control. If I want to exit VIDAA Kids, I will have to enter a pin. If I don't do it, I'm not able to get out. Also, if I power off the TV, let me show you. So I'm going to power off the TV, and I'm going to power the TV back on. You're going to see that I get into the menu, and if I want to select a different profile, there's a lock key behind it, right? So if I want to go into the demo mode, which is my own, it's going to ask me for a pin. So there's no way for a child to be able to exit the environment that is safe and appropriate for them. I'm going to click the kid profile, and again, Brody is in. As you can see here, the recommendations are done. There's no applications. There's recommendations coming from Kidul inside of the app, and the app experience is very, very unique. So I go, let's say, party time. Oh, Baby Shark. That's the most annoying thing ever, but I'll click on it. And as you can see, I'm going to go inside of VIDAA Kids, and now I have the availability to watch Baby Shark, for example. And the content is there. The ads are always age appropriate. There's no tracking of the kid. There's no way for them to exit it. And again, if I go back, I'm always inside of this experience. The only thing the child can do would be change their avatar and their background. So they can select a different theme. Let's say I feel like being in the jungle. And now the environment has changed to be a little bit of a jungle environment, slightly different. They can also change their avatar. Whenever they go into kids settings, that's where the parents step in. Now, inside of kids settings, there is a lot of stuff that you can do. You can set viewing restrictions, you can maximum the volume, you can do eye care, but more importantly, there's a lot that you can do inside of the VIDAA application on the smartphone. So I'm going to show you that thing as well. So I'm going to open up my my phone. I have a demo here as well. So as you can see here, if I go to my, let me just turn this off. In my profile, this being a kids profile, you can see up here that I have several things that I can do. I can go into kid settings, and there's virtually a ton of things that we can do. First of all, we can set time limits, and those time limits can include what is the screen time that we allow the child to have. So I can have it at 2 hours, for example. So every single day, we're going to be able to do only 2 hours of screen time. Another thing that we can do, we can set, just go back, we can set sleep time. And on the sleep time, we're able to do different times of when the child will not be able to watch the TV, right? We can do it on here, and I can select a different time. So the wake up time is going to be no TV before 8 o'clock, right? And I'm able to save that. Also very important is we do have the usage reports. So we can see how much time the child has spent watching the TV in minutes every single day. Very, very, very important for you. When you set the limits and the child exceeds them, you get a notification on your phone. And you're able to click a button to either extend or say, no, that's enough. And then once the limit is reached, the TV says you have to go to bed or your screen time has been done. Ask the parents to increase. You can have several profiles on the TV. Like let's say I have two. I have Brody and I have Jenny. And if I click the Jenny profile, he's going to give me the options also to do the same things, right? So it is a very, very, very neat way of protecting children and making sure that their watching on the TV is done appropriately. Now, while we're speaking of VIDAA, the remote application, let me exit this app. I'm going to go to this way. I'm going to go into the basic settings. I'm going to use my demo account to also show you the capabilities of the remote application on the normal profile. So again, I'm going to power on my phone. I'm going to go to the home screen. As you can see, the first thing you're going to notice, all the applications that you see here are actually applications that are duplicated in the launcher in the exact same order. I want to get back to just explaining the VIDAA application. So all of the apps that you see here, they can be managed on the phone or on the TV. Now, if I decide, for example, I'm going to move the RTL application, you can see it here, and I'm going to move it to the third position up here. And then I want to have the YouTube application on the second spot like this, right? When I click the OK button, you're going to see that the apps actually rearrange on the TV itself, and vice versa is the same. So let me go and I'll change the apps on my TV. VIDAA Kids, I'm going to move the VIDAA Kids application to a different position. You're going to see that immediately the VIDAA Kids app is going to appear in the second spot right here. It is very easy to do. Also, all of the navigation, I can launch applications. So let me launch YouTube, for example. I click the button and the YouTube application actually launches on my TV. I have the capability to use a standard remote control, so I can go home. I can go down, for example, navigate normally using my phone. But I think one of the best features of the remote application is, of course, installing applications, moving applications around, but it also has voice capability. So let me show you. I'm going to use the voice capabilities on my mobile phone to control the TV. Okay. Search for SpongeBob SquarePants, and you're going to see it does this. Now, one thing I want to point out, I need to put the volume up a little bit. Okay. So you're going to see that for the first time, VIDAA actually has a voice feedback. So let me do this again. Search for James Bond.
I found several James Bond type of content. Which one do you want to watch?
Now I can either select manually or I can use the voice and I can say the fourth.
Okay, I will play it right away, Tilda.
Okay, and now it goes inside of the application and opens it up. Why is this important? It is an enhancement specifically for TVs that have built-in far-field microphones. But also, it's a nice feature to have. You can also do other stuff, as I've explained. For example, what's the weather?
This app is not installed yet. You can check in the app for it.
Okay, I need to install the weather application, and then it's gonna be able to allow me to also do the weather. Also, of course, all the other controls work. Now I'm going to not use it on my phone. I'm going to simply use it on my remote control. So I'm going to say set volume to 25.
Okay.
Set volume to 20.
Okay.
Open HDMI 1. You can see that it is really, really fast and really responsive. Go home. And it does work very, very well. Also in a whole bunch of other languages. Like I said, we currently support 28 different languages. So with VIDAA Kids, VIDAA Voice, and the remote application, let me also now focus on VIDAA Art. So Art is a new solution. It's an enhanced solution. We currently call it Screensaver. It's important to note the old VIDAA Art solution with DeviantArt still exists on our platform. This is just a different version, and I think in the long run, we're probably going to be migrating towards this one. But if you open it up, you will see, again, here you can see a frame, right? I've actually put a frame, and it's very, very, very easy to navigate it, right? All you do is use the up and down buttons to open up different settings. Now you can set the contrast, you can set the brightness. A lot of people set the brightness quite low just because, you don't want the TV to pop up when you have it in art mode. Rotation, how often do you want the artwork to move? Display options, do you want them to be shuffled or you want them to be done in order? Now in order is always going to apply to your favorites. What is the background color going to be? Now the background color often doesn't really appear because the art is full screen. You can select a different frame for your art. There's various different styles from very, very intricate to very, very modern and slick, like for example this one, or even just without it if you want to, right? And again, set the contrast and so on. And if you click on a piece of art, you can move between them. I'm using the right and left buttons now on my remote control. I can go right and left, and if I click OK, I can favorite it, and that way only my favorites are going to be displayed. And that important, every picture has its own frame, so you need to select a frame for every picture, right? It's not that you will have one frame across all your images that are displayed. You can also set up, of course, the screensaver can be set up in the, let me go all the way to the left, in the settings. If I go into the settings, I go into the system, and then we have, where is it? Advanced settings, and we have the screensaver. Okay, VIDAA Art settings, there we go. You can define what is going to be the source, if it's going to be your favorites, if it's going to be your photos, by the way, also important, and how often you're going to be going to sleep after the art filter or after VIDAA Art goes on. So you can have it. Let's say I'm going to say that VIDAA Art starts in 5 minutes after I'm being inactive, and then the sleep is going to be 2 hours. So it's going to display my art for 1 hour, but currently I have it completely off. And I think with that, I think we've covered most of what we wanted to show. I'd be really happy to hear any questions. I will open up the questions now to see if we have anything that we need to specifically address. So if nobody else is raising their hands, as you can see, I've put up a little QR code. We have a newsletter that we send out to Hisense, not to Hisense, to anyone that wants to apply to them. Scan the QR code, subscribe to it. We actually have 2 things that we do. The first one is a normal newsletter about VIDAA, and we do send out also a newsletter about the industry. So if you want to share that with us, if you want to have access to that as well, just sign up and we're going to be able to send that to you. Thank you and have a good day.